along the roads.
Yeah, cleaning up dump sites, doing work that's needed. They can't use specific power tools, but they go out there. They've come out here a few times in the courthouse, helped pick weeds, just kind of, they do what needs to be done. There is a grant through Public Works where they're allowed to pick up and then dump the litter for litter sites. So I think the last report I had the tonnage of litter that they've picked up, as well as the tires and other sofas and appliances and so forth. So they're just going around the county, more up north, and picking up all of those illegal dump sites.
All right. Thank you. No further questions.
And of course, I'm always concerned about the budget, so this is all being, it's grant.
Zero
Yep.
budget impact, yes.
No further questions.
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval of Resolution 2025-194 as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and second for Resolution 2025-194. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Takes us down to Resolution 2025-195, Information Services requesting additional staff systems and Analyst 1, presented by Mr. Danzel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members. Speaking with Bo Beckley, our Information Services Director, the workload that you all had asked me to check on after we transferred some of the responsibilities for the sheriff when we created the Franklin County Department of Corrections as it pertains to employee identification badging, camera access and response to public records requests, and access control, that we need to have an additional person there. And I can say anecdotally, as I walk through the courthouse and meet with people, they're scrambling. Our workload is up just in general. I don't think that public records requests are ever going to go down. And so the idea is that I fully believe that we need this position to be able to carry out the function that was being done in a separate department until we made the change. And so that's what the request was, and I support that request. It'll most certainly include later on some budget transfers to be able to pay for it. And I think that when we do that and you look at the long run, I think that right now it's going to say that we're going to be spending a little bit more money, but if you come back in 3 years and everything's been flushed out, I think we're going to be in a budget neutral position. I would recommend voting for this resolution.
Questions, commissioners?
No questions.
No questions.
If there's no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve Resolution 2025-195 as presented.
Second.
Been a motion and a second for Resolution 2025-195. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Takes us down to Resolution 2025-196, settlement of Claim Jackson Jet LLC versus Franklin County, presented by Mr. Briggs.
Mr. Chairman, our administrator has let me know that we need to pull this from the agenda today for later consideration.
Okay.
We have a meeting, Chair, just to let you know, we have a meeting tomorrow with all the counties. And given the sheer number of counties involved in this litigation and the request to meet tomorrow, and there's been a presented stipulated order that we need to consider jointly. So that's the basis for the request.
Okay, at this time, we'll pull Resolution 2025-196 for a later date. Move down to Resolution 2025-197, Franklin County Coroner's Office Interbudget Transfer, Travel Budget to Small Tool and Equipment Line Item, presented by Mr. McGarry.
Morning, Commissioners. So this is to transfer monies from my travel budget, which I've cut back in hopes that we can take some of this travel budget money and move it to buy cabinets and other equipment for this morgue that we're having built. Looking at our travel, we could forego some of the training this year and defer it to the next couple of years, and so that's what this one is. So it's going to be a neutral impact on the current budget. We just move it from one line to another. That's what that is. Questions?
Questions, Commissioners?
As far as any future travel, you'll be able to get by with the transfer that you're making
For this year, yeah.
for this year?
Yeah. Yeah, we've kind of We're kind of backloaded on our training for this year, and so we didn't need to do some. And then seeing that if we could take some of this and move it to the building, I would rather do that than have excess training, so
All
we're
right.
good with this year.
No further questions.
Using it to buy cabinets for the morgue, was that not a complete package in the
That
bill?
was not included in the bid, in that we didn't include that. So cabinets and cupboards, we did not include. And then talking with the OPO company also, they'd like a stainless steel table. So those are things that,
How much is this transfer request?
$5,919.
So, Mr. McGarry, you told us previous that you were going to be putting in for grants and getting grant money. Have we received any grant money for this
I
project?
have grant money coming in for the lift and some storage shelves. Those don't come open until probably September. And so those aren't even in the budget, or the building budget. Those aren't in that at all. That grant fund isn't in there.
And you're for sure getting that grant fund?
Yeah, they've all been approved.
And how much was it?
It's right around 12,000, 12 or 13. Yeah. But those funds don't usually come available till September or so.
And you're not going to need the small tools. You're not going to need any of this stuff this year, so you're transferring it over. What happens if something comes up and you do need it?
Well, travel, I've just eliminated our travel training. Like the Waco training conferences are here in the Tri-Cities this year, so we're not leaving town. And so that saves money too. Other training, I've just not signed up for it this year. We've just not gone to it.
I believe that I did remind my other commissioners that I didn't think that we had enough money to complete this building, and now you're back to us and you're on the agenda. The next item also in this tight budget situation we're in, this is going to be tough because there's a transfer in your budget. I don't mind passing that, but yeah, it's going to be difficult for me to go with anything else. If there's no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve Resolution 2025-197 as presented.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Takes us down to Resolution 2025-198, Franklin County Coroner's Office Inter-Budget Transfer Contingency Fund to Coroner's Building, presented by Mr. McGarry.
Okay, so this one, in December of last year, the Board of Commissioners approved the construction completion of the morgue for the coroner's office. The project is being funded through a combination of sources, including the American Rescue Plan Act, the Courthouse Expansion Fund, and the remaining funds from the Non-Departmental Contingency Fund. As the project nears completion, additional support for the non-departmental contingency funds will now be required to finalize the project. These were funds that were already approved of back in November or December of last year, knowing that this was part of what was the shortfall from the ARPA funds. And so we're getting close to where those ARPA funds will be expended. And so I'm just coming to you now to tell you that it's time we take from the non-departmental contingency fund so we don't have any interruptions in paying the construction people. The amount of that is the $43,000 and $43,050. And so that's what that one is. Questions on that one?
Questions, commissioners?
So that amount, that will finalize everything?
The other part that is not finalized is the courthouse, courthouse expansion fund. There was confusion on getting that one on today's agenda, so it'll probably be on next week's agenda. Just to have, and that one comes from your office, Mr. Danzel's office, to generate that one, and with Tim over in the accounting office. That one's kind of out of my hands as far as the line items and stuff like that, so.
And what amount is that going to be?
That amount, Tim said there's $257,178. So that would come over.
That's what you're asking for?
That's how much is in the courthouse expansion fund that was agreed upon back in December that would be used to finalize the building of the morgue.
So it's going to take 300,000 to finish the
To finish it,
building.
yeah.
What is this contingency for, this 43,000? What is,
That's just to finish off the construction of the facility.
but this is contingency, so we have a bid that builds the facility, so contingency is for something when it changes.
Well,
What
the
changed?
contingency fund was the shortfall from what the ARPA monies wasn't covering and what the courthouse
That's not what
expansion.
contingency is. Contingency is when a project changes. Contingency is what you backfill the changes, what changed on this project.
Back in December, that's where I was told that the balance of the budget would come from to cover that, was from the contingency funds. And that's where Commissioners Mullen and Bauman agreed to have those funds come from at that time.
May I suggest that we table this till next week when we can get all of this put together and looked at, and give us a week to
I'll second that motion.
think about it?
Well, the second part is not on the agenda today, is that correct?
Exactly.
Correct.
So today is just the 43,000, but that's
Yeah.
what you need to finish the building for the contractors.
It can go until next week because the ARPA funds are still there to keep paying the contractor. But it's going to be diminished here, I think, after this month's or invoice comes through. They'll probably finish that out, and so I'll have another one. Completion date is targeted to be the 1st of August, and it looks like we're pretty well on date for that. The OPO, the company that wants to lease the building's already been in touch, and they've come and looked at it, and they're excited about doing that also, so we'll be starting to get contracts from them too.
And they're going to lease part of your building?
Yes, they will lease for the use of it for recovery of donations.
Yeah.
So that will, our thought is the lease money will help refund or pay back the courthouse expansion fund.
And what are the lease payments that they're willing to put forth?
They're talking, when he was here last week, he's talking about $2,000 a month. So right around $25,000 a year. But, yeah, we can table this. I'm fine with that. And then maybe we can have the other one on there too, that we can get them both together. So.
All right, I'm fine with tabling it.
Yeah, we'll wait till next week, because you know we got an HVAC system that needs some attention here in the courthouse too, so. All right, well,
One thing, Commissioner Didier, is the building is to the point now that if we don't complete it, we're sitting there with a big elephant.
I believe this is what I warned you about when we passed this.
No, we have the funds for it. The funds were approved back in December, and now it's just coming to say, okay, it's time to take these funds and transfer them to that project. And then if you don't complete the building, you're going to have revenue that we're missing out on bringing into the county. So
I believe I
that's
warned
where
you
I'm
about
at.
this.
Thank you.
All right, that takes us down to the open public hearings. And at this time, we will start with Resolution 2025-199, final order of vacation of portion of right-of-way to Terrence Drive, presented by Craig Erdman. And at this time, I will open the public hearing for Resolution 2025-199.
All right, background, in 2018, Public Works reviewed and approved a short plat, SP 2018-23, dedicating the right-of-way of Terrace Drive as platted in the northwest of Fraser and east of Terrace Drive. This short plat proposed to extend the right-of-way for Terrace Drive east to Fraser Road. On April 21st, 2025, the Public Works Department received a petition signed by one landowner adjoining to Terrace Drive requesting that the portion of the right-of-way of Terrace Drive shown on plat 2018-23 Lot 2 be vacated. The petition was accompanied by sufficient bond and as required by law. On May 28th, 2025, the Board of Commissioners, by Resolution 2025-195, ordered me, the county engineer, to report on the possible vacation so the board may consider the usefulness of such right-of-way. Currently, the area to be vacated is under development and expected to increase the acreage of 3 lots, 16, 17, and 18, of the PDU Kohler Estates Phase 2. This benefits the landowner to have these portions of the right-of-way vacated, as it improves the usability of the 3 lots. Additionally, within the proposed vacation, there currently exists a 10-foot electrical easement that is intended to remain, considering Franklin PUD requires access to existing power poles in the proposed vacation. The PUD for Kohler Estates Phase 2 is nearing completion and includes 2 east-west roads connecting Fraser Road. The purpose of the intended right-of-way for Terrace has now no use, considering a county road. McDonald Drive now has access to Fraser Road. The Public Works Department contacted utility providers and requested input on potential impacts to their facilities. Franklin PUD indicated that the vacation of the portion of the right-of-way of Terrace Drive would impact on their operations and facilities. However, Franklin PUD maintains a separate easement within that portion of right-of-way to be vacated and will not be negatively impacted by the vacation. Therefore, it is my opinion that the portion of Terrace Drive is useless to the county road system, and I recommend that the board vacate Terrace Drive and further initiate retaining an easement for construction repair of public utilities pursuant to RCW 36.87.140. This will allow the PUD greater access to their easement. And I will remind the board that by Chapter 12.0810 of the county code, the vote must be unanimous for the vacation to go through.
All right, this is a open public hearing, so first is the commissioners. Is there any comments?
Questions?
No questions.
So at this time, we'll open it up to the public. Is there anybody in the audience that wants to comment on this vacate? Okay, so I see nobody coming forward. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval of Resolution 2025-199 as presented.
Second?
There's been a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So at this time, I'll close this public hearing on Resolution 2025-199. And at this time, I'll open Resolution 2025-200. And this is amendment number 1 to the 2025 to 2036 year Transportation Improvement Plan, presented by Mr. Erdman. Okay. And at this time, I will open this public hearing.
RCW 36.81.121 requires counties to prepare and annually update their 6-year transportation improvement program pursuant to one or more public hearings, and to file a copy of the adopted TIP with the Washington State Department of Transportation and the County Road Administration Board. Oops, did I break up? Pardon me, I think I've I got 4 of them. I think I picked up the wrong sheet.
You've loaded up our agenda, Craig.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, this is 200.
Oh, okay, no, I did have, right, my pardon, I did have my ducks in order. Okay, anyway, for us to report to WashDOT and CRAB, the TIP represents the county's priority transportation improvements and is a perpetual planning and project management tool for federal, state, and local governments. The TIP may be amended after it's adopted to add, delete, and amend projects to accommodate these changes. On June 26, 2024, the Board of Franklin County Commissioners approved the county's 6-year transportation improvement plan through Resolution 2024-147. Since the adoption of the TIP last June, the county secured STBG, Surface Transportation Block Grant funds, for the R170 pavement rehabilitation project. This amendment divided R170 pavement rehabilitation into 3 distinct projects in order to move forward with obligating the newly acquired funds. Additionally, Gill Bridge and Wilder Bridge, which are 2 short-span structures in the county that are deficient, have been added to the STIP as a housekeeping measure. We plan to replace those in-house. Per the RCW 368121, Section 1, the Transportation Improvement Act may be amended at any time by a majority vote of the legislative body of the jurisdiction after a public hearing has been held. The public was notified in an advertisement in the county's legal newspaper.
Questions, commissioners?
No questions from me.
So this is, and I haven't had a chance, I was looking here, Craig, to go through this list. Is the Road 68, that intersection? made
It's, that's in the, we're going to talk,
Yeah.
we can talk about that in the next one. That's in the major STIP.
Okay.
And there's some issues.
Has it moved up the list a little bit?
Well, it is, however, I'll get to that in the
Okay,
next one.
let's get to this one then. Let's get this one done. So at this time, if there's no comment by the commissioners, this is open to the public. Is there anybody in the public that would like to comment on this? Seeing nobody come forward, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve Resolution 2025-200 as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second for Resolution 2025-200. Is there any further comment? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So at this time, I'll close the public hearing for Resolution 2025-200 and move on to the 6-year Transportation Improvement Program presented by Craig Erdman. And again, this is an open public hearing, so at this time, I'll open the public hearing for Resolution 2025-201. Mr. Erdman.
Again, RCW 3681-121 requires counties to prepare and update their 6-year transportation improvement plan. This is what we've brought to the board for this year. And then we have to move that forward to the Washington State Department of Transportation and the County Road Administration Board. As stated earlier, this is a planning tool for our projects. And the county TIP not only lists specific projects, but also the documents the plan, schedule, and cost for each project phase, preliminary engineering right-of-way, and construction. Project funding and implementation are authorized by separate actions by the board. So you've had the packet. This year's STIP hasn't really had, isn't really significantly different from last year's, other than some things have taken their normal course to move up. We hope for in the future is hopefully our financial position improves, that more projects will be added in the next couple of years. Regarding your question on the intersection project, through annexation, we now only control one leg of the intersection. So we will try and reach out to the city of Pasco to get them to take some action, but we're really the minority.
Right. I have
Agency.
just witnessed, I was over there the other day, and I myself almost got into a wreck right there, so.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
bad.
I think they're aware that it's a critical intersection, and we're more than willing to cooperate with them however we can to make that project come. But now it's largely become their project, not ours.
Understand. Okay.
We'll keep it on the STIP though, just for, in case we have to contribute, or we will contribute to the project.
Any other questions, commissioners? No. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion. Oh, the public, yeah, that's right, thank you. Administrator keeps me on my toes. Is there anybody that'd like to come forward and talk on this? Yes, we got a couple people coming forward.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
So, Commissioners, I just wanted to let you know that in the past, it's been the practice of Public Works to have a SEPA document associated with this that was done. When you have a transportation plan, the 6-year transportation plan, when we do the comprehensive plan update, that update includes all normal road activities related to this, so this is SEPA exempt. It's only occurs that we need a SEPA if there were a project for a new road that wasn't contemplated due to development in the comprehensive plan. So I just want to make you aware this is a little different than we've done in the past. We've corrected that action, and moving forward, most of these will be SEPA exempt.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, Mr. McCart. Anybody else, public comment? Anybody's welcome to come to the mic and speak on this.
Yeah, good morning, Commissioners. I've looked, me and my wife, we met with Mr. Danzel a couple weeks ago, and he was so graciously allowed us to look through the 6-year transportation program with him. And in that, there was very, very limited updates to rural roads, namely gravel roads, and updating them and paving them. And that is a concern of mine, and that we're not focusing on updating. We're strictly just, chip sealing the current roads and keeping it as it is.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment?
I would like to note that there are grants out there that do an end run around our Washington State Constitution, stipulating the speed zone in a city or a county are given to those leaders that are elected for that. And we have a very bad example of what happened on Sylvester Road, where they couldn't get the grant unless they agreed to lower the speed limit by people who don't live here, that don't represent us. And that's unconstitutional. So as you go forward and you work with the city of Pasco, please help them to remember that. They also have a planner that I understand from other county commissioners that have worked that there are other grants available. But our state should be on notice what is constitutional, and that we will stand on those constitutional rights. Thank you.
Anybody else, public comment on this issue? Seeing nobody else come forward, I would now entertain a motion.
Move to approve Resolution 2025-201 as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second for the adoption of Resolution 2025-201. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. At this time, I will close Resolution 2025-201 and move down to Ordinance 06-2025, amending speed limit ordinance 05-2023, Section 10.08.020 of the Franklin County Code. Mr. Erdman.
All right. On June 20th, 2023, the Board of Commissioners
Oh,
passed...
excuse me. I got to open this as a public hearing also, so I have to open the ordinance 06-2025. Proceed.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
On June 20th, 2023, the Board of Commissioners passed Ordinance 05023, which set the regulations for speed limits in Franklin County with respect to Section 46.61400 of the RCW. The ordinance was codified in Franklin County Code as Chapter 10.08. Said ordinance has been in effect since that time without revision. The Public Works Department has drafted an ordinance that will amend the aforementioned section with new roads that have been adopted in since the passage of the ordinance of Ordinance 05 to 2023. Also, roads that have been annexed and have been removed from the list. And that's all, that we've not made any changes to any existing speed limits. This is simply the housekeeping of roads taken in development and roads gone out in annexation.
Commissioners' questions?
He answered the one question I had.
This is open to the public. Is there anybody in the public that would like to come forward and speak on this issue, this ordinance? I see nobody coming forward, so at this time, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve ordinance 06-2025 as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion for ordinance 06-2025. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So at this time, I will close the public hearing on ordinance 06-2025. Move down to
Thank you.
Commissioner Administrator updates. And at this point in time, I would, Mr. Erdman, are these people present? The two individuals here? I'd like to present I will start here by presenting to Mr. Langston.
Yeah, he hasn't arrived yet.
He has not.
Ms. Newman is here.
I'll start with Newman or Eckert?
What's that?
Miss Eckert?
Newman.
You have one for her too? We only have the two. These are the two that we received.
On the certificates, write letters from. The certificate's right. Accurate, but no, the letter's wrong. It's Kathleen Newman.
Newman?
Yeah.
That's why I'm sitting here hungry tonight. You want to have a ribeye with me?
Okay. All right, so the first one we'll present is for 9 years of service to Franklin County, and this is Kathleen Newman. On behalf of Franklin County, we would like to extend our sincere gratitude for your dedicated service with the Franklin County Public Works Department from April 25th, 2016 to February 27th of 2025. Your contributions to the county and your years of hard work have been truly invaluable. Please
Chairman.
accept.
Can I make a correction on that?
Yes.
She's been with the county since 1990.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 35 years, so. Yeah, I don't know what happened with the letters that, I'm not
And
sure
now,
what happened with that.
because this was a certificate of appreciation for 9 years, but we're talking retirement then?
Yes, 35 years.
35 years. Well, I apologize, but I'm,
Those years went by so fast, I don't remember.
well, I just want to say thank
Years where you started
thank
from
you
hand
for,
drafting to computer drafting.
thank you for all your hard work to the county on behalf of the commissioners. We apologize that we didn't get this right, and we thank you for your service to our county.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, is Mr. Langston here?
No.
Okay, well,
I
we'll.
guess I can take it on his behalf.
Yes, yeah, we will. Mr. Langston, it says 34 years of service to the county. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay. On behalf of Franklin County, we extend our heartfelt appreciation for your years of dedicated service to the Public Works Department and the citizens of Franklin County. Your career with the county began August 1st, 1991, as an assistant accountant. Through your hard work and dedication, you advanced through the various positions, including Accounting Assistant 3, Confidential Administrative Support Specialist, Financial Systems Analyst, Financial Specialist, and ultimately Chief Financial Analyst. Each role you held has played a pivotal, vital role in the success of the Public Works Department, and your impact has been truly significant. Although your time with Franklin County will conclude on June 26 of 2025, the legacy of your service, professionalism, and commitment will be remembered and appreciated for years to come. Please accept this certificate of appreciation as a token of our sincere gratitude for the many contributions you have made throughout your career. Mr. Langston. All right, that moves us down to,
Well, if I might, I'd like to
Yes,
say a
Mr.
few
Erdman.
words. I don't really have a lot of words. I've been privileged and honored to serve with both of these people for over 30 years. I think they're the last two people in the county I can actually say that about.
wow.
And they're more than my coworkers, and their impact to the county and to the department is unquantifiable. That many years of service to the county, and it has been exemplary, all of it. And I am going to miss them. I know the department's going to miss them, and I don't know how we're going to replace them.
Well, Mr. Erdman, I'll just say that you've just revealed that they are family.
They are family.
You're a family out there, so
They are.
that's why you guys are excelling. And we'll try and keep the funds coming your way so we can get some of these roads paved. Thank you. Commissioner Administrator updates. Mr. Danzel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I met with the commissioners individually to discuss the agenda. Commissioner Mullen today has the Chamber of Commerce meeting where he'll give the State of the County update. And through that process, I reviewed a biography that Genesis had revised. And I found out, and it's a fact, that Commissioner Mullen is credited with inventing the deep-fried Twinkie. And I just got, that's a real deal. You can Google this. And I just wanted to say, Commissioner, I might be your biggest customer ever.
We were not the ones that invented it. We were just the ones that made it famous.
Well, I don't know. You go look on Google and your face is all over the place. So that was
I
interesting.
claimed to fit my 10 minutes of fame that lasted 9 weeks.
Well, they're good. Anyway, enjoyed meeting with all the commissioners individually. Wanted to say just how great a job that Public Works is doing out at the Hapo Center parking lot. Was able to go out with Commissioner Bauman and see the work that they're being done there. And this was actually written before I knew that Craig was going to say what he said, but they really do have a cohesive unit out there, and it's not easy to take ad hoc projects in the middle of our construction season, and they've done it, and they've done it without any complaint. And I think that not only are the folks that Craig mentioned a credit to Franklin County, but Craig Erdman himself is a credit to Franklin County, so thank you, sir. I spoke with the clerk of the board spoke and reached out to the Columbia Valley Center for Recovery, and we'll schedule them on the agenda. And then finally, I spoke with Rural Development Director Kirk Beerson regarding his visit here today to finalize what we were going to discuss. I don't know if you all know, Mr. Pearson is a mentor of mine personally. Before I came here and I was in the Washington State Senate, my first day when I was assigned an office, they had to pair me up with someone, and I got passed over by at least 7 sitting Washington State senators, but the person that said yes was Kirk Pearson. And so not only is this special because of what he's going to be able to talk about in his segment of the meeting, but also it's a special day for me because Kirk was a mentor of mine and somebody that means a great deal to me personally. So I appreciate rural development being here and making Franklin County a priority. That means a lot to us. And with that, that's my update, and if there's anything that we can be working on, you just let me know.
Thank you. Mr. Bauman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make my report brief. Had a meeting this last week with our Ben Franklin Transit CEO and one of the directors, Director Grimm, Pasco City Council member. Hapo parking lot maintenance that's underway, and I offered to make their morning start good, and they said that's good, but not donuts. And so we got Egg McMuffins, and so they enjoyed that, and they did a great job. They're out there this morning. As I went past this morning early, they were already out there working this morning, and I think that process, the various different segments, will be about 3 to 4 weeks long, and that will be a tremendous facelift. And so I think that neither one of you were commissioners when I first stood in front of the commissioners at that time and told them if we did not fix the parking lot, we would lose it. And we were very close to losing it. And so yesterday was a tremendous day, because for 10 years, I've watched that parking lot deteriorate to the level that I didn't think that we were going to be able to do maintenance on it. And so thank you to Public Works for doing that. Excited to see that underway. And went to the HAPO advisory meeting also yesterday. There was a fairly short meeting. The HWL group that's running that facility give a presentation on, the events and all the stuff that's happening. And I believe it was 16 events they had in this last quarter that were new to HAPO, that HAPO had not had in the past. So it's tremendous seeing them breathing new life into there. And several people commented to me that every time that they come to the HAPO Center, they're seeing improvements, and so that's really exciting. And so with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll leave that.
Commissioner Mullen.
Okay, so I also met with County Administrator about the agenda meeting. This morning we had a visit Tri-Cities, and they were saying that hotel occupancy is up, so it makes me wonder why sales tax are down, but they're doing a great job of promoting the Tri-Cities. Also had the Ben Franklin Walla Walla Good Roads meeting. Some interesting things that came out of that were a couple of the presentations. Times are changing. They now have solar road panels that they can replace existing highways with. They will not need to be plowed, as they will be self-heating. They will not need to be striped, as they can put LED lights in them, and also charge electric cars as they're traveling down the roadway. So I don't know if it's quite feasible yet. They have been using them as helicopter landing pads. They also put basically a truck tire on the panels and applied 80,000 pounds of pressure on it. And after wearing out the actual machine, after I think 250,000 miles, they finally said that we're tired of replacing the machines. The panels showed no sign of wear. That's pretty impressive.
Yes.
It's a lot of weight for one tire. They also had a presentation on solar lights for street lights. They can either replace a light pole with this new solar pole, or they can wrap existing poles with these solar panels that would include charging ports for cell phones, provide electricity back into the grid. And the scary part, I think, is the facial recognition that will come off of every pole. So times are definitely changing quickly. And that concludes my update for the week.
Thank you. Ben Franklin Council of Governments meeting, workforce development meeting yesterday with Todd Samuel as our chairman of that. And I got to tell you, we are so lucky to have Mr. Samuel there as the leader of that, because he is very in touch with the fact that we're heading into some tough times and getting prepared for it. Roads, again, I got to harp on we got Mr. Erdman's ear here, is that we need to work with our farmers out there. We need some pull-offs for machinery so they can keep their 20-mile-an-hour rate going for, quarter mile, half mile. And the farmers, when we had our meeting with Mr. Danzel and Mr. McCart, there's a whole bunch of farmers in there, and I told them what we were proposing to do, and they're all for it. I don't know a farmer that's against it, giving up that right-of-way on the roadway to put a gravel roadway there so that the equipment can get off the road and let the cars go by. We're creating a very dangerous situation out there in the blocks. We have machinery that's got to move from field to field, and we need an avenue for these equipment to get off the road for cars to go by, because they get backed up. So far, people get impatient, and we've lost people already from this. So, also out at the Hapo Center, I got a question this morning of why is there a big pile of gravel on the one parking lot? And I said, because we're chip sealing the other parking lots, and they need to store the gravel there in order to get the chip seal done. But then I've also received an email and a questioning as to why the trailers are parking along and in the parking lot of the softball fields instead of over there on that parking lot where they've piled the gravel, which is in between LifeQuest and our facility. That's where the trailers should be parked, because they're dry trailers. There's no hookups where they're parking now. They should be parking over there, and it's a short walk to the ball fields, and leave the parking lot for the people that are coming to watch the games. I think this is something that we maybe need to address. And as far as the sales tax, I think what we're seeing in Franklin County is we don't have as many brick and mortar stores in Franklin County as Benton County. Benton County sales taxes they haven't moved. They're actually doing really well. Ours, we've had a decrease 2 months or 3 months now of 15%. So we don't have near the retail stores, and people are back to shopping in the stores instead of online. So I think that's why we're seeing it. And that concludes my update. Move down to correspondence.
I would just like to add
Oh,
that
help
one
yourself.
thing that kudos to Commissioner Baumann, because I've attended these meetings for over 10 years, and it is true, he has been pushing for paving that parking lot for a long time, and it's good to see it come to fruition, so thank you.
Yes, it needed to happen. So thank you. Correspondence, is there any need for correspondence?
None at this time, Mr. Chairman, and also, Mr. Chairman, we do have a need for a brief executive session, but I've asked Council Briggs if that'd be okay to move it to after Director Pearson does his workshop, and he said that that'd be okay.
Okay.
That is, if I could add something, Chair.
Yeah, yes.
So that is fine. I would just add that I am going to ask for action after the executive session.
So we will not adjourn the meeting. We'll go into the workshop without adjourning the meeting so that we can make a,
Sure,
Do
that's
we need
fine.
to amend the
And just to
agenda?
let the public know as well.
okay.
Right, yeah, and we would need to amend the agenda as well.
Yep, okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, I would move for amending the agenda and putting an executive session at the very bottom of our order, and not adjourn our regular business meeting and go straight into the workshop.
Second.
There been a motion, a second, to amend the agenda to an executive session after the workshop and not adjourning our meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Takes us down to public comment. Anybody in the room for public comment?
I wanted to finish commenting about the Snake River dams and this transportation issue. These are federal waters, and so these federal waters, whatever happens on these federal waters with transportation, will have a domino effect across the country. So if you remove transportation because you take out the dams, that's going to happen across the country. And what we don't have on our transportation here that is used widely across the country is transporting of munitions and troops. So I truly want to put this as a point in the mind of our commissioners in this area actively. Furthermore, the transportation of the juvenile fish that are gathered from each one of those dams and released below Bonneville in the middle of the night with no predation, 95 to 98% of those fish make it through. They've now developed turbines that are 1% or less kill for juvenile to go through. The problem is 80% of the juvenile don't even make it to the first dam due to no habitat, slow-moving shallow waters of both the Snake and the Salmon rivers, exacerbated by an invasive species that has not been addressed by Idaho because sports fishermen love brook and brown trout. They were transported here from Missouri, and they live in the natal streams, little tiny streams that probably don't even have a name, where these fish go and spawn, and they eat the food supply all year round. Furthermore, they go after the juvenile. The only thing that counters them is if there's more rainbow trout. So it's complex, but it's very clear that the issues are not in Idaho, in Washington State. They're in Idaho. I lived in Idaho. I vacationed in Sun Valley and Stanley Basin. Those fish hit our feet as we waded across those streams. I was given a referral from Senator Schessler to the Idaho legislature, and they also referred me to the governor's office for an hour and a half. Please pay attention to what our state is doing by this mere study of transportation when we have a presidential executive order that says those dams aren't going anywhere. Why are they doing the study and wasting taxpayer monies? We've been through this. Thank you.
Anybody else for public comment? Seeing nobody coming forward. Other business? Is there any other business, Mr. Administrator? No. We're not going to adjourn, so we're going to move right into our workshop, and I'll ask for we'll call the workshop to order and ask for the approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval of the workshop agenda as presented.
Second.
Been a motion and a second for the approval of the workshop agenda as presented. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Takes us to, and please, you're only going to speak to this if you come forward. The USDA Rural Development Director, Kirk Pearson, focusing on funding discussion. We open it up for public comment. Is there anybody in the public that would like to comment on this workshop? Seeing nobody come forward, I'll ask Mr. Pearson to come forward. Welcome, and thank you so much for coming to Franklin County.
Thank you, Commissioner Didier and Mullen and Bauman.
And Mr. Aikman.
I'm going to have Phil pass out some packages to you, and when you get that, I request you pull this section out because I'll be kind of going through highlighting some of our programs, and I want to thank the good folks from Franklin County that are here, and I appreciate that and your interest in USDA. And a little bit about myself, as County Administrator mentioned, Brian Dansel, we did have the honor, I had the honor of serving with Brian in the state Senate, and an outstanding legislator, and he far exceeded anything I ever did there. But I'm very happy that he's serving you in Franklin County. A little bit about me. My history, going way back, have a farming history. My great-grandfather, my mother's side, was a pioneer wheat rancher in Adams County. And I grew up in, my dad had a little meatpacking house in the town of Snohomish. And I'm a fourth-generation resident of Monroe, and a proud father of 5, and even a prouder grandfather of 8. And so that's makes me happy. But recently I was reappointed to the office of State Director for Rural Development here in Washington State by President Trump and Secretary Rollins. And I left, I was previously with a nonprofit. I was executive with a 900 FTE nonprofit in our state, which I did really enjoy. But the mission of helping rural America was really on my heart, especially when I was first serving at USDA. And for those of you who have come a little bit about rural development, USDA has a number of sub-agencies, from the U.S. Forest Service, the Farm Service Agency, the Foreign Export Service, NAS, Agricultural Statistics, and rural development. We're small, but we're kind of a mighty little group because we have around 4,000 FTEs nationwide with offices. I have an office in Yakima. Our state office is in Olympia and Mount Vernon, and an office in Spokane. And so we're smaller, but I have just outstanding folks. And next to me is Phil Eggman, and he's one reason I wanted to come back to rural development. Phil and I worked very closely together Phil's retired Navy, and he's a proud former Navy officer, not a Navy officer, but he's enlisted, but he's my public information officer. And then Phil also, I appointed him to be our tribal and congressional liaison, because Phil is really good at getting out and about. And so a little bit about why we're here today. And even before I was given an invite to come, Phil and I, when I came back to rural development in May, we talked about how best we could help the state of Washington. And in doing that, we believe, we need to get out and hear from the people. And so we're doing community assessments, and we're going to, it's my goal to hit every county in the state of Washington. So this is my first big tour over in the east side of the state. And yesterday we were in Yakima County, and we met with your counterpart, the other commissioners and our congressional office, and other citizens in Yakima County, just to get a good idea of what's going on, their concerns, their takes, their needs, and everything. And it's been, just yesterday was very enlightening to us, and we believe today will be equally so. And where we could determine how to help and in the future target funding and find out what's important for all of you. So that's why we're here. We're non-regulatory, but we want to prop up, especially our local government. Farm Service Agency, they help our farmers a lot. Our programs help the rural communities and counties. So that's why we're here. And I wanted to go through this I wanted to highlight a few. I'm not going to go through everything for you, but I want to talk to you about our three pillars of rural development. We have our rural housing services, we have our community programs, and our business programs. And I'm going to start with page 4. And I want you to go down to the item where it says mutual self-help housing technical assistance. Now, these help areas around 20,000 or less. And what we do is we work with nonprofits and private organizations to do self-help housing. And I know when I was first director at rural development, I think we had some projects here in Franklin County, but what an amazing program where you have neighbors building neighbors' houses. You're building each other's house, and for a little equity, and you get small communities, and you create that sense of community pride. My first week at rural development, I got to go to a key ceremony for people that built their homes, but they had to build their neighbors' homes and put in the hour. And they call that sweat equity. And I think it's kind of what Habitat for Humanity does. We've worked with groups like that, but that's a great program. But also for housing, and housing prices, you say it's very expensive on the west side. I'm sure it is here. Looking at housing prices, it is unreal. But we have our single family housing direct loan, and one thing we're good at in our state compared to other states, we are very good at obligating money. Just so you know, right now we're operating off of our 2024 funding. Right now, Congress, they're going through markups with our Department of Agriculture budget, and we'll find out our funding level. But Washington State, we've been able to find when they dollars from other states, they're not using them. We're able to use them because we do have a housing need here in the state of Washington. And they're great terms and conditions, and we provide that mortgage financing for applicants. And it brings hope to people. And so we're doing very well there. If you go to the next page, page 5, we're looking at the single family, the loan guarantee, and that helps low to moderate income applicants buy a home. And again, that area, that's what 20,000, the level is 20,000 or less. And but we're here to help families help families get those homes. And one of our, this program is really, I think one of my favorites, because this is helping lower income, especially seniors. They get, I think you get a grant up to about $10,000 to do home repair. As you know, sometimes we get older and retired, and when you're on a fixed income, if you have that home, you may need some help to maybe get a ramp or certain things added to your home. And this provides a grant where you could get that something fixed, where there can be added to a roof but that's a very popular program. And just to let you know, in that packet that you have, I didn't want to forget, but you saw it, there's a bunch of cards. You pull out the cards, and each program, you'll have our housing program director, our business program director. I think Phil's card's in there.
I hope. Some of them may be short but if they're not, any contact information, I'll make sure I get it to Brian.
Yeah, and our community programs director. And those are the people that, as we go through here, you want to call them. They're here to serve, and they're wonderful people. And we do have great specialists that will answer any question. But getting back to programs like this, these are for rural areas. We can't do it inside. Pasco would be too big inside the city limits, but out, I think, I'm pretty sure Connell would qualify, and the other communities locally here in Franklin County.
So, Mr. Pearson?
Yes, sir.
That 20,000 population is for the population of that small community?
Yeah, 20,000 or less. And if it's in a rural area, I think it would be a census tract.
Sure.
Yeah, but
Anything over 20,000, think of it, except in a metro area. Of course, those are a combination of towns together. People would be able to qualify. And then, of course, it's the income level. Our community direct program, our direct program for housing is for low and very low. These are people that they couldn't get a bank loan. The bank wouldn't even take a chance, really. But we have a guarantee program that, for middle income, for medium income, as far as what the state would be. That's the majority of folks, really, where we get the guarantee and the banks will go with that. We have lenders that actually work with us, and our guarantee program is very popular, and it's used, and we have funding for it even at this time. So I need to qualify something about our direct program. Housing prices in Washington State, east or west, is crazy. We're one of the most expensive states. They're living on the blue side. That's because, the houses over there. Our highest level of income is the cost of a home. We can fund, believe it or not, is $830,000. Imagine if we're funded, Congress gives us $30 million to help people out. How far is that going to go? So the challenge we have is the fact that we have a lot of people that, the price of housing here is just expensive, and there's not a lot of inventory. I'm not really sure how it is in Franklin County. As we do our assessments, we'll have a better idea. But the programs, that is a priority with this administration, believe it or not, is to improve the cost of housing, is to improve the levels. So I just wanted to clarify that. And then I'm just a flying monkey, by the way, for my boss. So every once in a while I'll pipe up.
I would never call you a flying monkey.
I don't know. This is what it was.
No. Anyhow, getting back, I'm going to go over to page 7. I'm going to touch on just, as you see, so many things, but just quickly on our multifamily housing. We have provided rental assistance payments paid directly to owners of USDA financed rural rental or farm labor housing. And regarding off-farm labor housing, we do have 21 properties and 726 units statewide. So we do a lot, and in that area, and in our housing and multifamily housing. And I'm going to go to page 8 real quick, and because I don't know how much time we have, but
as much time as you would like.
Well, thank you, Commissioner. Well, I wanted to talk, something we're very proud of also is our community facilities programs. And this is where we can provide loans to build great centers of community, I guess, distinction. And I'll give an example. Like just driving here today, we went through Prosser and looking at the left, saw the brand new Prosser Hospital. Well, I don't know if a lot of you realize it was a $112 million project, and $80.5 million was a loan through USDA, and we did provide a $1 million grant. That's something we have built, and even up in Moses Lake in Samaritan Hospital, that's a USDA project. So community facilities, we provide for, you know, nursing homes, hospitals, in certain areas, child care centers, fire, rescue, public safety. I remember, Mr. Danzel, you and I were up in Republic, was it Republic? Well, Soap Lake, we provided USDA a police car for the Soap Lake Police Department, which was part loan and part grant, and communities that were struggling, and we were able to do that. And we did the same thing in Elmira. They needed a community pickup or something, and we provided that many years with USDA. So these are, we look for communities and needs that have such needs, and that's what the Community Facilities Program does. So we, you know, our fingers are everywhere. Unfortunately, I didn't get a list, but I know we've done a number of things here in the county in the past and hope to in the future. But we also funded our tribal colleges. We had initiative grants in the past. I guess a good recipient was Northwest Tribal College, where we provided money for capital improvements of the college. Going down, let's see, where would be? We do have electric projects. We've done broadband too, and a part of USDA, what we call is our we have a general field representative, and ours is out of Alaska. And we've, you know, when there's a need, there's always a need, you know, to get fiber in rural areas. And a great example, I will say, is like Lewis County, where they've developed a plan, I think it was a Lewis County PUD and Toledo Telephone, where they really got the rural areas covered. And a tiny town like Toledo is totally, they have fiber there. We would like to find out the need, if there's a need for broadband getting into some rural areas of your county, let us know. We would like to bring down our general field representative, who kind of works with us, but indirectly. But they're kind of our contractor that we go to if there is a need, lack of a better term. But then we also have a general field representative for electric programs too. I'm gonna go over to go to page 12 real quick. We have we're talking about broadband that's what I was talking about. Then we have our district distance learning and telemedicine grants. Well, that has been a very popular program where we've been able to get a lot of dollars in the past to our state. WSU was a recent recipient, was it last year? And
Last year,
before
yes.
I was here, where they were able to cover almost the entire state with their telemed program. So, so I would encourage, those of you that are interested in that, we would make that connection for you. And going down to issues that you'd probably be more interested in too, and this is for rural areas with populations of 10,000 or less. The Solid Waste and Management Grants Program, and it provides technical assistance and training to evaluate and improve current landfill conditions, and who can apply, of course, government organizations and nonprofits. So, and then rural populations, that's the level of 10,000 or fewer. The next page over, I wanted to highlight our water and waste disposal loan grants, and it's for clean, reliable drinking water. And this is a priority, too, of the administration for clean water. And So we're looking forward to seeing the funding level with that, but it's always good to know what's going on with that. And do you want to add to that on the water?
Well, it is a priority for the administration. In fact, our programs, when we know from the budget 2026, we know that the issue of not just clean water, the issue of water pipes, sewage, a lot of towns basically need these are systems that are 50-plus years old that need to be replaced. And so these assessments are going to go out. Communities would be going. Some communities have actually been working with us for improving their water systems. Locally, I would say Natchez was one where we were working on their water system. I think Sela nearby also, again, another water system that we work on. When I'm saying water, I'm talking about sewer as well. So wastewater, water itself. Wells, we deal with the well situation, water storage, water purification, anything and everything to do with water when it comes to dealing with the community. And it's just for communities. These are projects like for yourself. You know your towns, you know, and we want to know, where are your problems? We want to be able to find out where they are. We want to take all the money from all the other states and spend it in Washington. That's what we want to do. I mean, that's greedy, I know, but
Franklin County.
that's what they do.
This Franklin County.
Yeah. But for the record, though, that this system is also going to be a priority, or this funding will be a priority for our agency, no matter what happens. That's what the president has said.
And going through our programs, coming back to rural development and going through on our national calls and looking at how our benchmarks are with the other states. Very proud of my staff because we're in the top 10 of every state on our business programs, our community programs, and our housing programs, how we're getting out. And this is, I think what we're doing here too is going to add to that and get the need out. And Phil, being the good public information officer he is, he's documenting the day and getting the information to our higher office, our deputy undersecretary, and even our national office, say what's happening here and who we're meeting with and what their need is. And it all helps because it is maybe kind of in a way competitive with other states, but you know, we're all in this together. We're all Americans, and we want to do good things. But we also, if there's needs in rural America, we want to get out there and get the money obligated to where it's needed. And real quickly, going down one more, this is for banks and savings and loans. It's our wastewater disposal loan guarantees, and it provides the lenders with affordable financing to help provide that access to clean water. And that's populations of 50,000 or fewer. And then I wanted to really touch on our business programs, and that's really another popular program, and it offers loan guarantees to lenders to make their loans to rural businesses. And as you see, those who can apply for are banks and chartered institutions and intermediaries. And if you go across, the next page is for our rural business development grants, and that's rural areas of 50,000, under 50,000 or more, and it provides feasibility studies and business plans, and provides other technical assistance to improve rural transportation, establish revolving loan funds, and even going down farther, we have our rural development, cooperative development grants, and that's where we provide grants to nonprofits or even institutions of higher education to provide technical assistance. Then going over to the value-added producer grants, which is a really popular program too, and boy, we have a number of great examples. That was something that one could say that should belong with another agency, but this helps our independent producers, farmers, and ranchers cooperatives in conducting feasibility studies, developing business plans, and helping with some marketing for great programs out there. Like you had what was a good example of that?
There's lots, but I'll qualify one. A couple of ladies in Pierce County they bought a farm. This was actually just after COVID. They bought a farm, they took the herbs on this farm, and they made flavors for coffee drinks. And it was a viable market. They were actually selling vegetables and stuff, but they took this, and this is a value-added product from these herbs to make these flavors. And they were selling it was in a town near Buckley, I guess, in Washington, on the other side. So what they did is they received a grant, and from that grant, they were able to pay for the marketing and outreach costs. They hired a PR firm to do their marketing and outreach, which improved the value of the products and improved their overall, outcome of this. And they're a successful business now. These two sisters, and they're called Two Sisters. I forget the actual name, but I love their model. Again, this is a product. This is something where wheat makes a better bread. Maybe a honey producer creates a honey product, whatever the case may be. And this grant helps cover the cost. It's a match from them, of course, but it's still, a grant covers part of the cost, reduces the overall impact. So it's really a cool program. It was created from the 2002 Farm Bill. It's carried on. We see it continuing. Kirk didn't mention it, but another part of the 2002 Farm Bill was the Title X renewable energy programs that we have. They still exist. Farmers are able to take advantage of funding to do renewable energy products. It's not always about wind. It's not always about solar. It could be heat pumps. It could be a biodigester or something for dairies, whatever the case may be. These programs exist. We'll see funding for that as well. There is one other thing I want to mention, if that's okay. Absolutely. About the coalition.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, government always comes and say, hey, we really want to help. You guys all bust out laughing. You've heard that saying, right? Well, the truth of the matter is government is there to help. The job of government is to come together and help, our constituents, which is the American public. Rural publics have the needs. One thing we started to do in the first administration when President Trump was in office is we brought together a coalition of federal partners. These were the heads of HUD, the heads of SBA, came together and worked together as a team. And it's kind of like that movie, Miracle on 32nd Street, where if they don't have it at Gimbel's, they'll have it at Macy's kind of thing. Working together, we were able to coordinate, we were able to get some things done. The whole idea of doing assessments and working with our federal partners is we're going to bring in more partners like our state partners, Commerce, for example, Department of Agriculture. In fact, we met with the Secretary of Ag for Washington State, who wants to be a part of that coalition. This is really cool. And then plus, working with our friends in Oregon, across the river, along the river, working with Washington State University Extension and other schools, and nonprofits and other groups. One of the things that we're trying to do walking around is find out who it is that knows the best about the needs of the communities they're serving. I learned from the previous administration, the state director was a former county commissioner in Island County. And one thing I've realized is that you really want to know what's going on in our state, talk to county commissioners and the clerks, because you guys have the pulse of the county. And that's why we're starting with commissioners. We're going to talk to towns. We're going to find out what the needs is. But you guys are already talking to the towns. We're going to see towns today. I'm so jazzed about this because public service isn't just a word on a billboard, isn't about a paycheck. It's about other Americans, helping Americans survive in our country. I love my country. I love serving my country. And I'm really glad to be here today.
Thank you, Phil. And we both are, and we learned about the deep fried Twinkies, which is
Clint,
which is going back to DC. That news, but no, we're very excited. And we're looking forward to our day spending with you and finding the needs. And this won't be a one and done. We plan on being back and meeting with you all again, and we're excited to learn a lot today, so thank you very much.
Well, thank you. At first, we'll open it up to
Oh, yes,
commissioners and our administrator to interact, and then we'll open it up to the public.
Please.
So commissioners, thoughts, questions?
I'm just excited that you're here. Thank you for that. And looking forward to introducing you to a part of our community. I know that Commissioner Didier is going to spend some time with you, and then I'm going to pick you up. And I think that we're going to go to Connell and Colotis and come back and meet with some leadership at the city of Pasco. And so looking forward to introducing you to our community, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I want to say thank you for coming. I have a speech this afternoon, so I won't be able to attend, but I do want to say thank you to Commissioner Bauman and Didier for taking you out and introducing you to the county. And again, thank you for coming.
Really appreciate you coming and visiting Franklin County. And Phil, I want to thank you for your service for our country. I thank every veteran I see that for their service, because if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't get to live our dreams. And we appreciate the service and keeping America great. One thing we have addressed with our public health department is there's all this talk out there about affordable housing, and that's an oxymoron in Washington State because of the increased costs of fuel, because of their taxation. There is no affordable housing in Washington State. Like you have already stated, it is extremely impossible for a young family to build a house almost, because of the cost that it costs to build a house here in the state of Washington. And again, I want to thank you. I'm going to take off, and we're going to go see Hell to Pay First, which is now Eltopia, and I told you the story behind it. And then we're going to drive up, and we're going to see Mesa. Mesa recently had their store burned down, and we're going to probably get a smoothie there across the street. They have a little outfit. And then we're going to drive over to Basin City that is much need of a water system. And they are working as we speak on that. But they've got 3 wells up there, and I believe we have somebody here. Yes, would you like to come forward and talk to where you're at on your water system? And because I would like to get everybody sort of in tune to what we're going to be looking at and what's going on. So introduce yourself, please.
I am Matt Neff.
Matt
and
Neff.
I'm on the board, Water District for Basin City. And I'm totally excited to hear that you're here to help with the water. We have had a lot of challenges up there and are running out of water, especially good water. We actually had to revert to a 3rd well that was high in nitrates just to try to salvage our water system here. We are working on putting in meters right now for our clients or our customers. This project has taken many years to go through because grants and stuff that we were working on would come up short of the bids that we were getting. So that has probably been one of our greatest frustrations as a district, getting projects to match the funding we were able to qualify for. Just yesterday, we went through a meeting where we had an evaluation for what we're charging our customers, and we're falling way short of what they were saying could qualify us for some of these loans. They were saying that the means of our community was in the $80,000 range, and for us to qualify for some of the loans that were out there, we would need to be in a 2% charge for the water, and we are falling way short of that, and yet feeling like we are challenged to even raise it even just a little bit to meet the needs that we've got now. So as it is, we're just barely covering our costs to administrate and to take care of it. And so our challenges are great to try to meet the growth and yet do it with a very small budget.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
Mr. Neff, before you leave, 3 wells, correct?
Correct.
You got 3 wells. Has there been any thought about drilling a deeper well?
So we did drill another well. I would say it was probably 2 years ago.
Okay.
And of course, the problem I have with drilling wells, I won't say it's the Vegas shot, you know, you take a big risk, it's a lot of money. So we dumped 250,000, I think we went down close to 1,000 feet, and it was a bust. So that was a tremendous letdown for the community. You know, we had used a lot of funding that we really didn't have and came up short of meeting needs. Right now, with the meter project, the hopes is to have conservation play a factor in this. But as a guy who's running this system right now, conservation would be nice, but what would be even better is more water. Yes. And so those are the challenges. And I'm sure as I was listening to you, there are other communities facing these same challenges. Yeah. You know, we just don't have the funding through our own, how would you say it, coming in from our own community to even come close to building the system. And like was said earlier, our system was originally probably 50 years old now. Right. So we are, you know, in need of replacing what is already there, in addition to trying to come up with the needs that are here in the community. We are a community that has the ability to grow. We have lots of lots that are marked out to grow, but until we resolve this issue, we cannot go forward on that. So
I thank you very much. And we'll be meeting, I'll be giving Dan Winter a call when we get close. We're going to meet with Dan out there also, and he's going to be able to show us around.
There myself, so.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for being here. As you can see, we got problems. We got Colotis is another small town that I've been talking about forever. They don't have a septic system, so they all have their own septic, but that area floods, and then they got to boil their water in the wintertime when it does. So we got major problems there, and like trying to get that resolved for them. And Connell, Lamb Weston plant shut down, and it's really hurt that community. And that's it's a tough deal, because what we have from the COVID crisis, we had all these freezers, these potatoes. They make them into fries, and with the economy turned down like it would, the people aren't going out to eat, so the French fries get stacked up in the freezers, and there's no place to put them. We actually had truckloads of potatoes going to feedlots.
Right.
I mean, this is the cycle that we go through, and when people don't go out to the fast food restaurants, it affects the farmers and it affects the whole community here in Franklin County. So there's just a lot to probably digest. We so appreciate you coming and spending this time with us, and we're very honored that you are here in Franklin County. Thank you. Mr. Danzel?
Just one thing. Phil Eggman has said that he will send me this electronically, so the folks that are here that are wanting that, we will have that available for you. I just wanted to put that out there because there's good information in here. And so we'll be having that available. And we'll also have some, and I'm one of those old school people that likes it hard copy, so we'll have a couple copies sitting around hard copy too. Thank you.
So at this point in time, is there any other comments? I would like to open it up to the public for public comment to come forward and speak on the behalfs. That please come forward and tell them your concerns for our county.
Yes, Lisa Turner, just tag off of Mr. Neff's. Our water system has approximately 50 homes on it. It's 70 years old, and the pipe, we are constantly having breaks in our line. And we just don't have the funds. We have probably, I want to say not even $100,000, but when a pump goes down, you know, that's gone pretty quick. Yeah. And it's just community members trying to help keep it going, but it's pretty tough. And we did apply, was it last year or the year before, there was some funding and we didn't receive that. And
are you an HOA?
No, it's out in the blocks. It's how big of an area?
Who'd you apply for funding through?
Well, there was some state money that came to the county, and it was it was dispersed in different ways, and we didn't receive any of that. So we got a bid on replacing the line, and it was over $500,000, and that was probably 5 or 6 years ago. And we just don't have the funds to do that.
And the line you're probably talking about replacing is an old steel line.
Yeah.
Which is rusting out, which
it's pretty nasty.
The one in Eltopia is doing the same thing.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else? Please come forward if you have concerns or would like to talk about anything that you'd like to see in your area.
Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, Director Pearson, for being here. My name is Martin Sanchez. I am with the Washington State Department of Commerce, Community Engagement Specialist. So this is right up my alley of what you guys are doing. Just wanted to introduce myself. Here's to my business cards.
Thank you.
I represent the South Central region of the state. I cover Adams, Benton, Franklin, Yakima, Walla Walla, Columbia County, and Clicquot counties. Fairly rural, most of those counties. And there's a lot of work that crosses over with the work that the state is doing right now, specifically with the Public Works Board through Commerce. There is a grant and loan cycle that's open currently right now. It closes August 8th. So I would like to connect with you guys to give you guys that information. So that's all I wanted to say.
Martin, thank you very much, and I haven't had a chance yet to meet with your new director.
Joe
and,
Wayne, yeah.
But a week before, I went to a meeting, and a week later, I found out I got appointed to that. But he did a good job.
Yeah, and he's out in the counties as well.
Former
meeting with
senator
different-
too, Brian.
Yep,
too.
yep,
So,
yep, yep, he is. Director Joe Wen. Joe Gwen. He is the 34th Legislative District. Yep, yeah. So, yeah, thank you guys.
Well,
for
we'll
being
get
here.
together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Could we get your card also to our administrator there? And then you talked earlier about the Prosser Hospital that you helped them. We have, and I'd ask Lori Hales to please come forward because we have our ambulance crews, and they're basically all volunteers. Right now, I think Lori's going to help me out here. I think we have a full-time. Please come forward to the mic, Lori. Don't we have she is the chief of the Hospital District 1.
I got to make some corrections. I was not prepared to speak, and I'm actually a commissioner, but that's okay.
Oh, there you go.
He can
See?
call me whatever he wants to.
Well, I was trying to give you the head hat there.
We were the recipient of, thankfully, some ARPA funds, and we actually were successful at a levy lid lift increase. So we were able to hire some career staff during the day. We also respond to Coyote Ridge Correction Center, and when they initially came to us, this was prior to me being a commissioner, they anticipated only 4 calls a month, and so we thought, yeah, we got this. Yeah, there are sometimes 4 calls a day. So we were 100% volunteer, and that's a lot to ask of, the majority of us are farmers, which I'm an American farmer. So we had to figure out a way to keep servicing them because they're probably 30% of our call volume. And so with the ARPA funds, they were able to help us update all of our ambulances and some equipment, which you guys will see later, and the levy lid lift. And we finally did get some funding from the state for CRCC funding, thankfully. Thank you to Commissioner Didier. He told me to grow a backbone.
I did not.
Yes, you did. Yeah. And thank you again for that. It feels pretty good to have one, by the way. What else did you want me to speak to?
Do you think we have the amount of funding we need? Because you are servicing the Coyote Ridge, and you've
Correct.
already talked about the increase, and our great governors are wanting to turn that into a geriatric prison, which is going to require more calls because you got all the older prisoners there. We could probably use some help there, could we not?
Yeah. Sleeping quarters are in our sites down the road. We cover 715 square miles. That's our biggest problem. We have 30 plus active volunteers. We have 50 on our roster, but people just can't always respond to calls. Our volunteers honestly are saving our bacon because they respond to all the calls in the rest of the community every night between 6 and 7, and then they also respond to the calls outside of the Connell area during the day. And I kept turning off my phone because I don't know how to turn my alert off when we get an ambulance calls. But oftentimes, I feel like it's when we get one call, we get another, and that's where it pulls on your resources. And so we had oh my gosh, a really bad accident. When did we have that windstorm? Good grief. Yeah, that took 20 of our, that I can say off the top of my head, EMTs out of service. And so basically all of our resources were there, and then some of us stayed home in case we got another call. But living quarters will be on our next list down the road. But we're challenged with where do we put those to service 715 square miles. We try to treat everyone the same. People, the Merrills live on one end of the district, and then you've got, Kiter Ridge on the other, but we all should be treated the same no matter what. So that's another problem we have.
Would you share just a little bit? So a few years ago, our governor designated Palouse Falls as the state waterfall that increased traffic over 400%. That is the farthest point from where we are today in our county. It's the most rural and farthest point. So if we were to leave here, it would take us about an hour to get there if we were just running pretty steady to get there. With that designation, it has increased calls for service for falls and air ambulance and so forth, and that has really taxed our volunteer districts for responding to calls at the farthest point in our county. Would you share just a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'm not an expert in that. I'm actually, sorry, the Turners. I'm not an expert in that because I actually respond out of Merrill's Corner. However, our ambulances do respond there, but they not only tax us by personnel, but challenges, because you need ropes courses, you need ropes course experts, rope rescues. We do not do that. Water experts, because some of them are down in the water. But the bigger issue and problem to that, and I brought my brother John Andrzejewski here, he's from Colotis, is that whole area. How many square miles is Fire District 2? 500? Is it 500 square miles, would you say, John? They have no EMS service currently. Zilch. So when you go to Colotis, if you're allergic to peanuts, don't eat any over there unless you're carrying your own epi. We do have mutual aid agreements with everyone in Franklin County. So if it is a if it is a Med 4 or a Med 3, which obviously life-saving measures need to be taken, we will go. Why wouldn't we? They're our family, our neighbors, and our friends. But that has really bothered me because we all drive through there to go to Pullman, or we have friends that live there. But at the end of the day, they're a smaller community with a lower tax base. And so it's not that they don't want EMS. They just, I think it goes back to funding. So,
Sure.
So with that being said,
Yeah,
does
thank
that
you.
help address that?
We have no technical rescue team in Franklin County, and so when that is necessary, we have to call on outside sources, Benton County, Walla Walla County, to help us with that. We did apply last year for some grant funding that we did not receive to our sheriff's posse. We have a bi-county sheriff's posse that has a lot of experts in different ways, and so we applied for some funding for some, technical gear, but did not receive that. And that particular area that's so far out, not even having service, it really taxes our fire districts and our hospital district because they respond to an area that doesn't even have that. So thank you.
And that area actually, it has more than just those problems. Also communications. There's no communications once you drop over that area. So logistics, it takes easily over 45 minutes for anybody to get there once they gather extra crews because they still have to service their taxpayers. So there's a multitude of problems that Palouse Falls has brought. And so knock on wood, we have a safe summer, but
Lori, I want to thank you for your service to our county.
thank you for your service.
Commissioner, thank you very much.
And I see John's in the back. John, would you come forward? Because you came to us previously requesting that we create a water district in Colotis. Well, I wondered who that Grizzly Adams guy back there was. He didn't have a beard the last time he was here. But you proposed before that we create a water district. You got water rights there in Colotis, and you've got avenues to draw water off of, and it sounds like this could help. These are the guys that could maybe help you get this done.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys need to step up here and get the money from these guys so we can get the
why
sewer
I
and
got
the water and everything that needs to be done out there.
I didn't bring my wallet, I'm sorry.
Oh, write a check, man. That's the name of the game these days.
So just sort of tell them what's going on there with the water rights. How old are the water rights?
Well, we have, 100-year-old water rights and stuff, and my neighbor has water rights to draw water out of the Snake River. And we were trying to bring back reservoir, the Snake, or the Clotis Lake, actually, and then be able to pump it out for irrigation purposes and other, the sewer and everything else that the city needs as well.
And you're pulling out of wells.
Yeah, we're all out of wells, and sometimes our wells go down, and then we're completely out of water, and we actually have to haul water from Connell to even be able to flush our toilets out there, so we're probably in the worst spot out of anybody in the county out there with, as far as funds. We're less than maybe 200 people in the community, so we're right up your alley here with your guidelines, and we need it, man. We're probably the worst, so.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Commissioner Baumann.
So I believe that our plan is you're gonna take him to 3 different areas, and then we're gonna do a handoff, and then, so I'm going to Connell, and then we're gonna go to Colotis. So if it's possible that you meet us maybe at the fire station in Colotis.
I'd love to. My son is currently in the hospital having a baby right now, so I'm about to be a grandpa, so we're kind of.
Congrats.
That's way
if
more
I can
important.
do it, I'll be there, but if not, I come on, so.
Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Grandpa? Is there anybody else who'd like to come forward about concerns in your area in the county? Here we go. Good. So I'm trying to get people to come forward. Don't be bashful. This is your time.
Thank you. Director Pearson and Commissioners, I'm Kathleen Koch from the City of Connell. I'm the city administrator. And so I had the unfortunate opportunity of speaking to Lamb Weston probably 3 minutes before they went to notify all employees and let them know that they were shutting down the plant. 400 of our employees actually lost their jobs, and 150 of those reside in Connell. Our community is a community without counting Coyote Ridge, because the state counts that part of the population. Coyote Ridge, without that, we're a community of a little less than 3,500 people. And so 150 people losing jobs is a huge impact. I had a whole thing written, but it's been far more casual than I expected, so let me see if I can jump through here. Let me talk about some of the other impacts. Our general fund, which supports police, fire, parks. We have a city swimming pool that's really the bread and butter during the summer, and really the only activity we offer the community. We don't even have recreation. And so those are some of the services that are paid for out of our general fund. We saw a 14% reduction in revenue when Lamb Weston closed all of our utility taxes and the other revenue sources that came in from Lamb Weston. It was significant. Our water fund alone saw a 50% reduction in revenue. And so at some point, I would expect our rates are going to have to increase dramatically in order to be able to continue to serve our customers. For now, we're doing our okay. And we were able to, with ARPA money and some other one-time money that we've had, we were able to upgrade water lines. So where they talked about water lines, I've seen the steel lines come out of the ground, and the Swiss cheese that they look like, they were actually very alarming, and our water loss has reduced dramatically since we had our water lines replaced. So that part of our system is in pretty good shape. We're going through a water study right now, so we'll know even more so here shortly what our list of immediate needs are, and then what our longer term needs are. Our local businesses and restaurants, I monitor the sales and the sales tax revenue from the state, and kind of like you talked about for Franklin County, of course, with Lamb Weston leaving, the restaurants and stuff just aren't seeing as much of the businesses and the customers come in and actually frequent their businesses. So you can see the reduction in the revenue to all of the, mostly the restaurants in town, but overall the businesses. So it's just a ripple effect. I know the school district, unfortunately, I don't spend enough time with the school district because we're so small, and so our resources are spread so thin that I just don't get out enough. But I know that they were experiencing some impacts themselves, and so if needed, we can bring them in and talk to them more about what their impacts have been. But for our community itself, our displaced workers, many of them, some have found jobs in town, but I would guess that the majority have either had to relocate or now are commuting probably to the Tri-Cities, maybe elsewhere. We're resilient, but we're still in urgent need of support from, any granting agency. USDA would be, it would be a big deal for us. The county, whatever you can all do, we need to be able to recover from the loss. We were seeing growth. In fact, we were getting ready to build a new well, and we have a grant from the state for $2 million to do so because we needed it at the time. And with Lamb Weston not online right now, we don't need it. But we're not sure we should forego the grant because if we can bring another industry online, we want to be able to serve them and keep growing the way we were growing at the time. And so it was a huge setback in that way. We are well positioned. We are right off the corridor. I'm sure you've been there, and if not, you've driven by. People drive by all the time and sometimes don't realize how much we have to offer, but we'd like to offer more. And so we actually received a grant from the Washington State Curb Board, and it's a $100,000 grant to assess the readiness of our industrial sites and explore opportunities for sustainable economic growth. It's actually, we aren't paying the match, and there is a match required. We're fortunate that the Port of Pasco and Avista both were willing to come to the table with the matching funds. And the Port of Pasco has been even more generous to oversee the whole project. They have the resources, they have the staffing, that this is what they do every day. It's not what we do every day. And so we appreciate everything that they have provided for our community. We've hired consulting firms called Eco Northwest and McKinsey, and they've actually been to Connell and done presentations a couple of times now. In fact, they were just here last week and did a presentation for us. They came to the community that particular day and met with many of the stakeholders and just kind of wanted to hear what are the values in Connell, what are our capabilities, what did people want. And they pretty much said they would take anything except, one resident put it, as long as it's not smelly. So that's the one thing that they said they really don't want. So we're open to whatever industry, large commercial, micro-industry, food processing, data centers. Those are the kinds of things that they think they're targeting and that we're looking at. But we'll see. Maybe some other things present themselves, and we just haven't come across those yet. But we've had a lot of calls, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. But to give you a little more context, we have about 500 acres just in the city limits and roughly 2,000 acres just outside the city boundaries that's ready for development. Our consultants have been looking at the top 3 sites that they think we can develop, and so I heard about some of that yesterday, and they're doing a lot more analytical work to confirm that in terms of if we're going to go try and dig in the soil or whatever, is it possible? So waiting to hear a lot more on that. As I said, we've had lots of inquiries from customers located in Connell, but they've been deterred by the lack of adequate infrastructure such as water, sewer, and electrical systems, and in particular getting across the highway. So we're split by Highway 395, and we do have Metro Mart, which is on the other side of the freeway, but besides that, we just don't have the capability of serving much on that side of town, and so we really need to get some infrastructure over there. We've had owners of property let us know that they'd like to do residential developments or something else out there, and we can't serve them. So they have to come to the county and see if they can do wells and septic. And those have been their only possibilities until we're able to build the infrastructure to serve them. I saw our chiefs, I brought my chief of police with me today. I saw his eyes light up when you talked about public safety, and I know the fire chief would light up too. We always need, like every community, we need help with public safety. Our resources are all drained. I venture to guess the county's probably like us, and maybe not, but I know most cities, more than 50% of your general fund is usually public safety. So, and we're very similar to what Lori talked about. You know, our fire department, while we have a fire chief, we are completely volunteer-based otherwise. And our fire chief is also one of the EMS volunteers and does some contracting with the hospital district. And so they're spread pretty thin, and it's really difficult for these volunteers to be all over the place. And man, I give them so much kudos because they take care of the community and all the surrounding communities very well. Outside of these challenges, I did want to talk about some of the progress, and hopefully you'll see some of that when you come to Connell. Harvest Foods chose to rebuild, and the store just opened. It's been a week, 10 days. It hasn't been very long ago. It's called Leprechaun, but you'll see it all throughout. There's other small communities that Harvest Foods also has grocery stores in. And that it's an amazing grocery store if you saw what the old one was and what this one is today. Ace Hardware is also a new retail anchor tenant in town. And so some much needed things where people don't have to drive all the way to the Tri-Cities to get what they need, and we could use so many other things. And then we just received plans. We already have an RV park in town, and we received plans where they're going to expand their storage units, and they told us quite a while back, I haven't talked to them recently, but that they were planning to, once the storage units are done, mirror some of the RV park and add some more of the RV park because it's always full, it's very busy. And a little bit of what you heard on housing in terms of rentals in our community. We don't have any. It's very hard to find rentals. So I know the RV park, even though it's probably not technically supposed to be used that way, sometimes it's used from the rental perspective. And even long-term housing is greatly needed. So we do have 2 housing developments that are underway right now. They'll add 135 homes when they're complete. We hope they continue on, but they have been. So it's been pretty exciting to see that even with the Lamb Weston closure, we're continuing to see onesie-twosie homes go up in those projects as well as single-family homes all throughout town. You talked a little bit about broadband. Franklin PUD did get a grant, and they're in town right now putting broadband in, and so I think we'll be well served in that arena. But I know I saw our newspaper owner, she talked about how we need high-speed internet, so I don't know what all it takes to make that better when we've got broadband going in, but I saw that she felt like that was a need. To close this, we have the drive, the land, the strategic location to grow. We're taking deliberate steps to recover and rebuild. What we need now is an investment in infrastructure and economic development to help us unlock the potential to restore the momentum before the plant closed. I want to thank you for your time. I appreciate it, and I'm happy to answer questions now, later, take you on a tour if you come to town.
Well, we're going to town. I look forward to coming to town. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you. Anybody else like to come forward, speak about needs? Mr. Danzel? Oh.
We have an executive session.
Yes. Yep.
I've spoken a lot. I have a deep passion for my county. Came here 16 years ago and discovered some of the warmest people, the hardest working people. We don't have skyscrapers, we have farms. They are our driving engine, and Communities like Lotus are especially near and dear to my heart because there's such great people out there. One thing that they do have is a gas turbine. So there is room to build businesses there. And I've been encouraging our county commissioners, and I have not made it to the PUDs and the ports, but gas turbines can still be built up through 2045. And while we're waiting for approval of these small nuclear reactors, it's going to be 8 to 10 years through the regulatory commission, unless somehow that can be speeded up some. Still going to be a wait. We are at maximum power. We are looking forward to this current administration opening up the dams and the power from both the Grand Coulee and the Snake River dams. But I see these farming communities as great places to start businesses along the food processing, but also some more innovative things. And I'm glad that you mentioned Habitat for Humanity. I work at a small college set in a rural setting called Sterling College. And we brought in AmeriCorps students and created a full ride scholarship for Habitat for Humanity students who, through the AmeriCorps, had health insurance and a small stipend while they served the community as they went to college. And they learned how to go out and do this on a serving nonprofit business angle. And I wonder if that might be incorporated into some of the plans with WSU or any of the colleges as a possible help to continue to bring more funds into these projects and personnel. Thank you.
Anybody else? Couple questions on your loans. What's the interest rate on your loan that when they pay it back?
2%.
I think so.
I believe 2%, depending on which loan, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
For seniors, by the way, if they're doing home repairs, it's 1% over
1%.
40 years.
1% for seniors.
For 40 years.
And for 20 years, the loans are for
40.
The loans are for 40 years.
I think so. I mean,
Wow.
I could have got it wrong, but
No, I'm good with
I
that.
think they spread it out a long time because, by the way, if you're senior, as you all know, you don't have a lot of money.
That's right.
So let me just clarify that because I could be wrong. That's what my wife tells me anyway.
I have to travel with this guy. No.
Anyway, we thank you so much for coming to Franklin County. As you can see, we got a very concerned community, and we thank you so much for coming here and look forward to showing you around.
We look forward to it, commissioners, and all of you who came today. Phil and I really appreciate it, and just I love your heart, and we understand the need, and you know we're gonna get this information back to the head office, let them know what's going on here in Franklin County, Washington. Thank you.
It's 40,000, sorry, not 40 years, so, but it's a long time, so.
40,000, but it's
40,000 is that 1% loans for seniors.
fantastic.
Yeah, 40 years, the guy would be dead.
Yeah.
By the time he
I was-
ever got it paid back.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that was probably the angle they were going at. Is there any other comments, commissioners? Just really appreciate you coming to Franklin County. So at this time, we will close the workshop and we'll move into executive session for 5 minutes.
Yes.
10
let's do
minutes. We'll move into executive session at 11:03. So at this time, we will.
I do have one announcement. There is a Pasco Police Foundation dinner fundraiser, dinner with the chief, Saturday, June 28th. If you want any information on that, you can call or text 509-528-4144.
And Jeff, will you give us the RCW for the executive session?
I will, yes, I'll make that announcement. So the executive session will be under RCW 4230-110, 1I, triple I litigation. We'll need approximately 10 minutes. Present will be the board, county administrator, myself, Jeff Briggs, and Mackenzie Lloyd. I believe Mr. Sant may be available as well.
Thank you all for coming today. And at this time, we'll recess into executive session. We'll go at 11:04 for 10 minutes. We'll be out at 11:14.
We're going to go downstairs.
Yeah, I guess so.
Push that in that fast.
We have come back from executive session with no decisions being made. And
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we amend the agenda to add a potential action item.
Second.
there's been a motion and a second to amend the agenda for an action item. All in favor say aye.
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 And with that, Mr. Chairman, I move to approve a settlement offer in the Moore versus Franklin County in Walla Walla Superior Court with case number 23-2-00161-36 in the amount of $500,000, and further move to authorize the county administrator to execute any document on behalf of the county to effectuate settlement.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second for the item read by Mr. Baumann. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is there any other business for the good of the county? Hearing none, this meeting is adjourned.